Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. I'm Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. Hope everybody is good today. Hope everybody got some sunshine to keep that melanin popping. Hope y'all are hydrated to keep that melanin popping. Got to hydrate from the inside or moisturize from the inside, as they like to say. And y'all know it is Wealthy Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we do the same thing. Come back, answer your questions, all about money. So for the next hour or so-ish, we'll be talking money. I'll be answering your questions live, whatever questions you may have. Stock, taxes, business, insurance, whatever you got, we talk about it. Nothing money related is off limits. Now, if you're like some of my YouTube comments who are asking me to go steady, or if they can stand a chance, I might have to block you. But other than that, it's awesome. Niall says, I had some freckle lemonade. What is freckle lemonade? I'm afraid to ask, but I got to ask, what is freckle lemonade? Hey, Tiffany, how you doing? Happy Wednesday. Miss Edith, how you doing? Miss Edith, you should have your stuff this week. Your package is in the mail. How's everybody doing? Mid-Atlantic, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. So what's popping, y'all? I seen, there's a lot of chatter out here on these interwebs and on the social media scapes, Instagram and Facebook. Everybody's talking about the debate last night about Trump, about Joe Biden. Everybody's been talking about Trump's taxes. Some people were upset. Some people want to co-sign the shenanigans, as I like to call them. Everybody's wondering, like, how do you pay $750 in taxes and you're supposedly a billionaire? Well, listen, only believe half of what you see and damn near none of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. If anybody can tell me where that verse came from, you can get a free t-shirt. But you got to chime in like the next 2 minutes. So Leo Lady got one. She's got one on the way. And Dak, I'm trying to think of my man down in Mississippi. Philly Fresh Fabrics, how you doing? Abu, how are you? Bossman PG, how are you? All right, Karan, how you doing, brother? Jay-Z, all right, but it's Jay-Z and what is the song? Now, I'm going to give y'all a little insight. A lot of the lyrics I spit or I sneak in or I interweave into some of the stuff are Jay-Z. I am a big Jay-Z fan. I've been called a Jay-Z stan before. I'm here for it. He represents positivity. He represents black wealth. Y'all know I love black wealth, all about black wealth. And he's all about elevation, in my opinion. So some people don't like him, and that's cool. Everybody's got their own flavor. That's your right. But I do. Jody Austin, what's popping? How you doing? Where you been at? I got to stay hydrated myself. Usually in the morning, I get up, I do a bottle of these, and I get a lemon and I cut it up. Now, guess who makes me do that every day? Don Johnson. What's good, brother? How you doing, Don? Happy Wednesday, man. How you been? This is a little too close. Y'all feel like I'm a little close today? Too close? All right, so listen, while we are all gathering here today, do me a favor, throw your questions or your comments on the comments or in the comments or in the thread. Tiffany Thompson, God bless you. You always share my stuff. I appreciate the support. Likewise for Don. Don always shares my stuff. Don, I don't know what you be doing, bro. I put a tweet up and it's like retweeted in less than 30 seconds. I don't know how you do it, man. You must have got some new tech or something you ain't shared with me yet. But again, I appreciate you. Niall says, say it again. I can't. It was a stream of consciousness. I lost it already. I think I said, only believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So the question was, the audio's great. Thank you, Jody. I'm trying to step my game up. I'm about to get some new lights. So my lighting's a little bit better than what it was before. My lighting sucked before. but it's a little bit better now. And so every so often I try to upgrade. Mr. Reed, you working on that N1 Finance? What you doing over there? You doing some fractional shares? Yes, Niall, you can definitely get a t-shirt. So listen, so since Niall's on here, I'm gonna talk about Niall. Niall's my homie. Niall is like the QuickBooks queen, y'all. I'm trying to get Niall to do some work with me so we can help you folks. Hi, Stephanie. My email is kamari@phillytaxteam.com, but I think I saw your email. I just didn't get to it yet. I've been busy today. And so I wanted to tell y'all how Miss Niall Carter is helping me fund my stock portfolio. I'm going to buy some dividend stocks because I just beat Niall out of $100 a day. And since I am talking about this publicly, I have to declare it on my taxes now, right? Because I don't want to be out of compliance with the tax man. I don't want no problem with the alphabet boys. But I just beat Miss Niall Carter because she challenged me, y'all. She challenged me to a contest. And the contest was, because Niall's like, and before I say this to y'all, because, you know, I want to let y'all know, so Niall's my sister, right? She's always promoting me. She likes beating on me, but she's beating on me to be better, to be excellent, to be great. So I appreciate that from her. I just want to tell her that now publicly. Yes. All right. So yes. Yes. So Niall's been pushing me for a long time to become what's called an enrolled agent. And what is an enrolled agent? Like a lot of y'all have heard about CPAs, a lot of y'all hear about tax lawyers, but the true king or the true queen or the true emperor or lord of tax is actually the enrolled agent, at least per IRS standard, right? So you take these tests, you have to get approved by the IRS, and then you become an enrolled agent. So you are then licensed to practice before the IRS and help people fix or get rid of their tax issues. Long story short. So Niall's been pushing me to do that. And so she challenged me a few weeks ago on one dreary day in September. I can't remember what day it was, but one dreary day in September. And she said, "Come on, you messing around. You dragging your feet. I bet I finish my CPA before you finish your EA." And I said, "Bet." And she was like, "Really?" And I said, "Bet." Now listen, I'm gonna give y'all all a clue about me. Anytime I say bet, you don't want to bet me. That's how I play, y'all. I only bet. It's an investment thing from the days back when I was working institutional and I would day trade sometimes, because 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to take a trade or a bet that I don't believe I can win. And when I say I can believe I can win, I'm like 99% sure I can win. Only an active God could probably get me to lose that bet. So she accepted the bet and I let her pick the bet. Now, when she did that, she was unknowing, right? She didn't know that I had already scheduled my last test in the whole series of enrolled agents test. That's right. She thought I was monkeying around, playing around, twiddling my thumbs, and just doing nothing. She didn't know I had already taken 2 of the 3 tests. Yeah. But then she started talking that smack. I see my man Shelby Martin's on here. So Shelby is from my block. And I come from about a group of about 20 dudes. We've been friends for over 30 years. And all we do is talk trash on one another. That's all we do. And I'm not the most aggressive trash talker out of the group. Like, I'm not the best by far. But if you put me in other arenas with other people, I always dust their boots. They can't deal with me. I've had some of my friends, their girlfriends, like, "Kamari, you're bad. Why are you talking about my man like that?" So they ladies got to take up for him sometimes, y'all. So anyway, I told Niall, I said, "Bet." She bet. She said, "I bet you $100." I said, "All right." But like I said, she didn't know I had already had my test scheduled, my final test scheduled for today. And ladies and gentlemen, I went and took my final test today. By the way, I totally felt scared. I didn't feel confident going into it. I just want to be 100, right? If y'all watch me, y'all hear me. I've been talking about my top secret project I've been working on. That's what I've been working on. And so I went and took the test today, and I passed my final test for being an enrolled agent. And I also sent in my application to the IRS. So I can't officially say that I'm an enrolled agent yet until I get the letter or the confirmation from the IRS, but I have passed all of the tests. So there's 3 tests The first test is ethics or something like, I can't even remember the daggone test. The first test is like ethics. It's about being an EA and all the ethical guidelines you have to follow. Then there's a test. The first test is about individuals or serving individuals and doing taxes for individuals. And then the second test is about businesses. The hardest test of them all is the second one. For me, though, I felt like the hardest test was the first one. But I've been doing taxes, like I told y'all, since the 80s. I've been doing taxes since by hand in the 80s, actually before the first or the last major big tax overhaul in 86 was about the time I started. So, but she bet me. She didn't know, but then I let her know, and she still accepted the bet. So I give her kudos for that, right? And then so today I talked a little trash to her, but she said, bam, take this bet, cash at me, and get out my face. So thank you, y'all. So yeah, I passed it. So, God willing, the IRS will get back to me quickly. The IRS is still kind of short-staffed because they're still being affected by Corona, as like all the rest of us are. But I passed all the tests, so the tests are done. Tests are done. So we'll see what's next. I definitely will probably start doing a lot more representation, helping people fix their tax bills. I'm sure all of y'all have heard. If you've got more than $10,000 in IRS debt, we can get you enrolled in the Fresh Start Initiative. And that's all cat. It's all BS. The IRS does have something like that, but it's way more to it than that, yo. It's way more to it than that. But yeah, so that's just another step forward in building out my business. Another one of my wealth strategies is building my business so I can help me, right? First and foremost, I can help my family, and ultimately I can help my community. As more business I do, I can do more of this. I can help you all get to some of the things that you want to do, even if it's just by answering your question or kind of setting you off on the right path. So just wanted to tell y'all that story. So now I won the bet. It was $100. Again, I got to declare that to the IRS. I'm going to declare this business income because I don't want no smoke. I don't want them coming after me talking about you had some Cash App transactions that you didn't report, because they will do that. Actually, Niall, when you going to come on? We need to talk about this article you wrote. Like I told y'all, Niall is the queen of QuickBooks. She's the queen of bookkeeping. She's an EA herself. She is an accounting and bookkeeping and tax monster as well. Y'all know I don't share. I'm not afraid to share the spotlight. So there's a bunch of folks who are out there supporting me as well, and doing their thing. So I want to get you on, because she wrote an article about Cash App, and I talk about this a lot too, but I'm also guilty of it a little bit. But Cash App should not be used as your bank. Now, I know we have a community where there's a lot of underbanked people, meaning that we have people that do not have bank accounts, right? I get it. And so when the government, the IRS, started doing the whole economic impact payment, Cash App did something that was really cool, in my opinion. They made it so everybody could have their own routing number and bank account for their Cash App, so they can use it. They don't have to worry about going and getting qualified at a regular bank where there's a whole bunch of red tape. So, but she hates that. Why? Because sometimes, one, there's scammers out there that be running scams. Two, there's times where you can get your Cash App account revoked. And this actually happens with other platforms too, like PayPal as well. But you can get your Cash App revoked for violating the TOS. And what is the TOS? The TOS is the terms of service. So yeah, she's in the comments now saying just say no to Cash App. They are not FDIC insured, and FDIC stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, I believe, and they insure all the bank accounts up to $250,000. I believe it used to be $100,000 back in the day. And so they can sometimes just freeze your money. Sometimes your money would just disappear because of some scam. So just be careful of that if you got anything out of it. So I appreciate that. Long story short, I beat Niall out of $100, and I'm going to put that $100 to use in my dividend portfolio on Cash App. So it's quite convenient. You can't. What do you mean by I can't be a real person on the phone? What are you talking about, Niall? Yeah, Stephanie, I will definitely get back to you. Like I said, just been busy, been studying, dealing with client stuff because clients don't care what you got going on. They just want their stuff fixed now. So, that's something. Yeah, Jody, thank you. But that's the wrong email. That's my personal email. I don't even check that email too much anymore. Oh, check you out. You like the step and repeat? Tell me, y'all. Y'all like my banner? Did I tell y'all how I was afraid to use my caricature? And that was my very first logo when this was As Kamari. And clearly I'm still doing As Kamari, right? Trey with Kimberly, how you doing? Welcome. What's up, Robert? Shout out to Robert from Linden, USA. He's actually helping me. Well, no, not actually. I guess I'm helping him work with one of my clients to get a mortgage done right now as we speak. He's doing a great job, and he is on the job. Some of the best customer service I have seen from a mortgage person in a mighty long time. So y'all check out Niall Carter Gray on IG. Y'all check out Lynn to USA on IG as well. All right, so you love the step and repeat, Jody. All right, cool. So you like that a lot better. Okay. Yeah, we working, man. We working. I got to get down to see you, Karan. But listen, y'all been letting me dominate all this time. Who has questions? Y'all been seeing what's going on with the market? Y'all been seeing what's going on with the presidency? The presidency does affect the market in a short-term perspective, right? So you'll see some blips here or there, but they will. If Biden wins, the market's not going to crash. You might have a correction, but it'll keep doing what it's doing because the market is all about companies' profits. So as long as people think that the stock is going to be profitable and the stock is actually profitable, the stock market will continue to do fine. What did I say, Don? What's the 80s? Melanated Alton's in the house. How are you? Alton, thank you. You're here with me every week. Karan's here with me almost every week. Katis is here with me almost every week. Thank you. I appreciate you all. I'm actually humbled that you're all here. Y'all actually hear what I got to say or appreciate it because it's all from love. So Monica Taylor Jackson chimes in with the first question of the night. What is the difference between these ETFs, SPY, growth, SPYG, high dividend ETF, SPYD, right? I'm reading out the ticker symbols that are in there for my IG people. Value ETF, which is SPYV. How do you choose between those types of ETFs? So Monica, it really depends on what you're trying to do. But let's start with breaking everything down, right? So SPY, that ETF is the very first ETF ever to come to market. Came out like the 90s, right? It's the gold standard. And I believe it's still the biggest in terms of assets in the fund. All right. And SPY is just the S&P 500. That's all it is. So it tracks the 500 largest companies in the stock market, or the S&P 500, which is the index tracker, right? Now let's talk about growth and value, and then I'll leave dividends for last. So growth and value, what's the difference? So we're talking about growth stock versus value stock. What's the difference between those? Why would someone want to invest in growth versus value? So a growth stock is usually a new stock. It's a high flyer. It's popular. It's got a lot of steam behind it. All right. A value stock typically is more of an established stock, an old school stock. It's tried and true and blue. Shout out to the blue. All right. And it's a known performer and it's established. Right. Value stocks, however, usually a lot of them, not usually, but a lot of them pay dividends as well. So most of your dividend stocks or your dividend ETFs will have value stocks in them. But let me back up even further, right? Because you're asking about ETFs. Real quick, does everybody understand what an ETF is? An ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. So y'all put in the chat for me. Say yes if you understand what an ETF is, because I think we probably talk about ETFs almost every week. I have been hailed as an ETF expert over a decade ago. You'll never really hear me call myself an ETF though. I mean, an ETF. I hope I never call myself an ETF. You'll never hear me call myself a guru or an expert, though. It's just something I'm really not into. No shade to nobody else. All right. But I've been writing about them, been talking about them, been interviewed about them for over a decade. Used to manage them at an institutional level, millions and millions and millions of dollars at billion-dollar firms. So I love ETFs. By the way, I hate mutual funds. But back to the discussion at hand. ETFs are a basket of investments. All right. Y'all hear me say that just about every week. It's a basket of investments. So you can have a basket of stocks. You can have a basket of bonds. You can have a basket of gold, right? So there's gold ETFs and they own actual gold. There are silver ETFs where they actually own silver. And you as an individual retail investor can take advantage of that and you can buy those, right? If you wanted to invest in Japanese yen, the yen is the currency, right? Because everybody is curious about Forex these days. You can actually buy it through an ETF. All right. Now, if you wanted to only buy, let's say, stocks in Africa, one of my first articles I ever got published was about an ETF that specialized in African stocks. Almost got fired over that. I don't know if I've ever told that story, but maybe one day I will. But ETFs, again, just are a basket, right? You could have tech stocks that are just a basket of nothing but tech stocks. One tech stock that everybody's going crazy right now is it's either ARKW or ARKK. It's got a lot of Tesla in it. And y'all know I am not that big of a fan of Tesla. I like the cars, just not of the company, right? But anyway, back to the ETFs, right? So, Monica, when you look at the ETFs and you figure out what your investment strategy is, then you can figure out which ETF works best for you, right? So, like I said, growth, typically is the high flyers, like your Facebooks. I'm trying to think of some of the new ones that is IPO. Your Facebooks, even your Amazons, even though Amazon's been around for quite some time now, it's still kind of in growth mode. When you think about a value company, you might think of like a Procter & Gamble, a Kimberly-Clark, a Johnson & Johnson, companies like those, again, well-established, right? And so each one of those, and I'll pull these up on the screen in a minute, but I bet each one of those have some of those stocks within their holdings. And so it just depends on what you want to do. Now, the high dividend ETF you just said was SPYD, is just dividend stocks, right? Dividend stocks to me is the greatest form of passive income. It's the greatest form of creating multiple streams of income. Because I know all the social media gurus love to tell y'all that you got to get some passive income and you got to develop multiple streams of income. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but everything has a process. And when they talk about it, they tend to forget about the process part. Like, yeah, let's just go develop 7 streams of income right now, today. And then, yeah, we're working on 7 things at different times. So we're running around with a chicken with our head cut off, and we're not really giving any real dedication, focus, or attention to one. By the way, most wealthy people, because this is the thing they say, right? The wealthy have multiple streams of income. Guess what? Most wealthy people, they start with 1, maybe 2 streams of income. You know what they do? They develop the hell out of those streams of income because they all take time, attention, nourishment, and love. Just like a seed when you put it in the ground. Put it in the ground, you cover it up with some dirt, you got to water it or make sure it gets watered. Got to make sure it gets some sunshine. Might even want to give it some fertilizer. Think about that in the same vein of building your wealth. And we're going to use stocks. We're going to use a business, whichever one you want. We want to use real estate, whichever one you want. If you're trying to jump between all of them before you even master one, again, you're running around with your chicken with your head cut off. So just keep that in mind. But again, Monica, going back to which ones to use, again, it depends on what your strategy is. For example, if you are concerned about dividend income, let's say you're heading for retirement, well, you might want to start investing in dividends because, again, they produce a stable income or typically a stable income. Quick reminder to everybody, nothing that I'm saying here is an investment recommendation. This is not investment advice. This is all for education and entertainment purposes only. Before you buy any investment, please talk to your investment and tax advisor, all right? Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All that basically means that a stock could be doing great, could be on 1,000, and could fall to a 0 the very next day. So don't get so souped up, so hyped, so emotionally attached and involved in investments, and believe that the run is never going to end. The jig always is up. What goes up will come down. When I say the jig will always be up, like the song ends at some point, doesn't last forever. Same thing with stocks. Same thing with stocks. All right, so you have to figure out. But if you're looking to retire soon and you want to develop an income, I don't know how old you are. You look pretty young with your picture. So you might not be thinking about retirement, but you might be thinking about developing another income stream. And you say, well, you know what? I'm going to start buying this SPD. I'm going to start buying more dividend companies to build an alternative revenue stream. Y'all saw the my dividend last week. I got $1.92 from my ETF, right? I invested in Xle. I invested Xle through my Cash App, and I'm getting dividends already. And what I'm doing with my dividends, I'm taking my dividend and I'm reinvesting it back into that ETF, Xle. So I hope that answers your question, Monica, but I'm going to pull up a couple of, I'm going to pull up those actually, and we'll look at those. Do me a favor, y'all. Y'all know I'm fighting the algorithm. I'm the rebel over here going against the big machines. Do me a favor, share this out, like this, comment on it. Let people know I'm here. Let people know I'm here to help. Everybody's always saying they're trying to figure out financial literacy. I'm here usually at least twice a week. Let people know I'm here. Let people know I answer questions live on the spot. I don't think I've been stumped yet. Doesn't mean I won't be though. Right? I'm not being cocky, but I've been around for a while. Got over 20 years of service in financial services. So there's not much I have not seen. Not much. But I can't know everything. So, there are some things that I just can't get to, but it ain't too many. And guess what? Google's my best friend. So if I don't know about it, I could always go to Google. And 9 times out of 10, I can give you a pretty good explanation about what's going on. All right, so everybody knows what ETF is. Jody doesn't know what an ETF is, but I think I just explained it, Jody, so hopefully you got it. Oh, yeah, Don. Yeah, man. I got indoctrinated young. I did an interview on, y'all know my brothers from By the Hood, Jimmy and Corey. They basically got to spill my whole guts about my whole life story. So y'all can go check that out if y'all want to hear all about the Rebel. But support By the Hood. Go check out their podcast as well. Okay, so and Monica, I'm still coming to you, but I'm just reading through some of these so people don't get too bored. So Melanated Allen said last weekend when I asked your opinion on a Franklin Dynatech fund, you said it's a mutual fund and you hate mutual funds. So why do you hate mutual funds, and why do so many people place ETFs above mutual funds? I thought we talked about that before, Alton. All right, so real quick, and again, Monica, I'm coming to you. I like mutual funds, or I don't like mutual funds because mutual funds usually are overpriced. Usually they're just following the index, and what that means is they're doing souped up passive investing. So they just put the money in, they follow the index like the S&P 500, they get the weights all together, and they just let it rock. That's it. There's no real intellectual capital or anything else going into it. They do the same thing with ETFs, but typically ETFs have lower prices. Typically, right? There are exceptions for everything. Also, with the mutual fund, you can't get the pricing of that mutual fund until around 6 o'clock. I can't go in at noon and say, I want to buy the Franklin Dynatech fund. I can put the money in, and this has to do with the structure of a mutual fund. I can put the money in, right? But the trade won't actually execute until about after the market, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. All right. With ETFs, I can trade at 12 and then sell it 12:05 or 12:01. Right. There's more liquidity in the ETFs. Liquidity is everything, y'all. Cash is king. I keep telling y'all that. All right. But liquidity is very, very important. So I have more liquidity. I have lower fees typically, and right, there's more transparency. So usually I don't get to see what's being held inside my mutual fund for at least a quarter, sometimes monthly. With ETFs, I know every day. I know every day. So there's just more transparency. You can actually trade. You can day trade ETFs. You can't day trade mutual funds. And I'm not, again, y'all know I don't promote day trading because everything I'm doing is for beginners. I'm just encouraging beginners to get in and get their feet wet, give a little bit of guidance. But, so I don't promote day trading. But it's there because let's say the wacko Cheeto Hitler dude that's the resident right now at the White House decides to, I don't know, cut off the internet, and you might own Google. Well, Google might go down. So you say, you know what, I own Google inside of this ETF because there's a tech ETF as well. And you say, you know what, I'm going to sell out of that ETF because that's going to have an adverse effect on Google. And that adverse effect on Google is going to hurt that ETF that you hold. All right. So it just gives more flexibility, more options. Again, more transparency. That's why I like them better. Plus, I've built so many things around ETFs and done so many things around ETFs that one, you couldn't do with mutual funds, but two, it's also right now just a part of me and my story and who I am. So, I mean, that's all. But I will say this because y'all know I always try to be objective, right? There are some very specialized mutual funds that you cannot get as an ETF. It's very rare, but there are a few. There's a few. So, there is the case or the occasion to invest in a mutual fund. All right. So let's take a look at this real quick, Monica. Monica, you still there? Let me know you're still there. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen. So right now we're looking at State Street. And so all the ETFs that Monica mentioned were sponsored or created by State Street. State Street is a company. And so I pulled up the ETF that she mentioned, the SPYD. Again, so that's the spiders. So SPDR, they call it spiders. Portfolio, S&P 500, high dividend ETF. And so I'm sure what they do inside of here is they probably find the highest quality dividend stocks that are in the S&P 500, and they're inside this ETF. So right now, you got a little bit over $1 billion in the fund assets under management. This on this first page just kind of gives you some of the key factors about this ETFs. So looking at it, it's got 79 stocks inside of it. The average market cap is about 35 billion. The price to earnings ratio is about 14.7. Who was on that live when I broke down price to earnings ratio? Okay, and this is what I was looking for. And so it pays a dividend of 5.66%. I'm sorry, the index that it tracks. This fund actually pays a dividend of 5.75%. So that's not bad. Now, how much? Right. So it's trading for $27.23. So every time you buy one share, you get about 5% on your money. So you spend $27, $28, and you get 5%. That's pretty sweet, in my opinion. Now let's look at some, and I'm sorry for going so fast. Can everybody see that? All right, so here I'm going to read these key features real quick. So the Spiders portfolio S&P 500 high dividend seeks to provide investment results that, before fees, right? You always got to think about fees and expenses, correspond generally to the total return performance of the S&P 500 high dividend index. So basically what that means is there's a list. They're going off of a list like I was just talking about before. That list name is called the S&P 500 high dividend index. It's published by Standard & Poor's. And they go through and they create the list and they tell you what's on the list. And then a lot of investment houses follow what's on that list. because you can't really follow the list, right? Because it's just a list. It's arbitrary. You have to then get people to put it into play, right? So the list, y'all might hear me talk about theory, right, and application. So the list or the index is the theory. The application is the actual ETF or the mutual fund or the individual who may be picking different companies to try to make up that index. So think about it like that. So one of the low-cost core y'all. One of the low-cost core Spiders portfolio ETFs, a suite of portfolio building blocks designed to provide broad, diversified exposure to a core asset class. And they're talking about dividends. All right. So it's also a low-cost ETF that seeks to provide high level of dividend income and opportunity for capital appreciation. So capital appreciation just means having your money grow, right? So your capital can appreciate and your capital can depreciate. Appreciation just means increase in value. Depreciate means to decrease in value. The index is designed to measure the performance of the top 80 high dividend yielding companies within the S&P 500. All right. So let's look at these high performance dividends. Public Storage, Broadcom, Ventas, Xerox, Viacom, Leggett and Platt, International Paper Company, Heinz Brand, Invesco, Dow Chemicals, what they're talking about, right? And so then when you look at the weightings, right? So you'll see here, you'll see the company name. Usually, sometimes they'll have the ticker symbol, but not this time. Then they'll have shares hold. This is how many shares they have in the portfolio. This is the weight that they have. So it's 1.55% of this fund. And then right next to it, they're talking about the index. So remember, I was talking about the listing. So this is what the listing is subscribing or saying this index is made up of. So Public Storage has a 1.55 weighting. Broadcom has a 1.55 weighting. So all they're doing is they're matching their investment based off of that list, that index. All right. And then it'll tell you the sector breakdown. So in financials, they have almost 24% of the money in financials, about 11% in utilities, 10%, almost 11% in energy, infotech, 9.5%, real estate, they have 18.66%. And if I'm losing anybody, just chime in with the question, right? So this is just telling you what sectors they are investing in. Now, financials and utilities and energy are typically your biggest dividend payers, and real estate, because REITs are in real estate. All right. Alton, how you not be on that live, brother? You don't miss many of these lives. All right. So what's PE, or price to earnings ratio? Price to earnings ratio is just basically the price of the stock divided by what the earnings is, or what the earnings per share is. They call it EPS as well. And so when you divide the price into the earnings per share, it will give you a number. Usually when you get above 20, 25, 30-ish, they feel that it's pretty overvalued, because it's a way to it's a way to see if your stock is properly valued or not. Remember, folks, there's nothing absolute. None of these ratios are ironclad. None of these ratios are gospel. None of them are written in stone. It's just one more thing to help you just try to gauge if something is worth the value or not, if it's worth the money you're paying for. If you were to pull up Tesla's PE is probably like, you know what, let me pull up Tesla's PE. Tesla's PE is probably like 1,500 or something. Now, remind you, I just said 20 is pretty good. Tesla is like a cult. So, everybody loves Tesla. So right now, Tesla's PE is 1,111. I'll show that to you, just in case y'all don't believe me. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Un momento. I will pull up the screen for you all. Listen, keep your questions rolling in, folks. Keep your questions rolling in. I be wondering, can y'all see that? Sometimes I think it's way too small. But then again, I need some new glasses. So right here, it says PE ratio. Right there, right. So PE ratio, and it says TTM. TTM stands for trailing 12 months. So over the last 12 months, the PE is 1,111. Stock price is $429. So if anybody remembers good old addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division, you know that when you divide something over something and it's a really large number, that bottom number is pretty small. So, and the bottom number in all of this, folks, is the earnings per share, which basically is a breakdown of profit. And Tesla ain't that profitable, even though I know everybody loves it. And they haven't been profitable for a long time. Now, that doesn't mean that the stock won't continue to perform well, but it does say or shows that they ain't making no money. So as of 12/31/2019, Tesla had net income of 862 million, a negative 862 million. So yeah, that's why that number is so high, that PE ratio. Again, not a fan of Tesla because Tesla, they still got some things to get together. All right, so Monica, I hope that helped. If it didn't, just chime back in and let me know. Thank you. Doing mine. I appreciate your comment on my last video that I posted to my YouTube channel. Those comments help y'all. They help me grow my YouTube channel because it tells the algorithm that I'm here and people are interested in what I got to say. All right, so let me see. I think I got some questions on IG. I got a couple questions on IG. All right, what do you think of BOA? Anybody know what BOA is? BOA is Boeing. And so first thing I tell folks, easy way to pull up a stock, just go to yahoo.finance. It's free. It's free. Wait a minute, did I do that right? No, that's not the right ticker symbol. So I'm pulling up BOA. Why is it doing that? You were asking about BOA, right, Niall? I thought, no, Boeing is actually BOE. No, okay. So Bank of America is BAC. So BAC is cool. It's funny, my man Kevin Gee's on here. We got a whole Bank of America story when he didn't listen to me. And I told him not to sell. But, I ain't going to put his business out there in the street. Black Mambanair. I think I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Ebony Angel, welcome. Black Better Wallet, welcome. Are you investing? Welcome. Big Man Tech. What's up, Frank? How you doing? Kevin asked. Okay, Kevin's got a question out there too. Oh man, y'all getting busy over there. My man Garen, how you doing? Joe Brown, what's up, Joe Brown? What's up with y'all podcast? Oh, now y'all asked what is XLE. So XLE is the energy ETF. It's the biggest energy ETF that's out there. I'll pull that up later. Now you got to stay up to date with me. I just talked about it on Saturday. Got to check in. Got to stay plugged in with me. So Bank of America. Shira Banks, how are you? Shira, I know I still owe you. Matter of fact, Shira, I'm going to take care of you tomorrow. I owe you a question. All right, so you want to know about Bank of America. All right, so I just pulled up Bank of America on my screen. For all of y'all who are on IG, I can't share it over there, but my Facebook crew and my YouTube crew can see it. So I'm just going to pull up IG. I'm just going to pull up Bank of America on the screen here. Bank of America right now is trading for $24.09. It was up 1.35% today. All right. their PE, Bank of America's PE, is 11.59. So that's signaling that that bank is kind of undervalued. Now, I have a whole story about Bank of America. I called it when it was $4.05 back in like 11 or 12. I missed it. I didn't buy it until it was like 8. But hey, bulls can make money, bulls can make money, bears can make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So I missed a little bit of it, but I could have got a whole lot more. So that was one of my most disappointing trades ever. But you can't get them all. All right, so right now, Bank of America pays a 3.03% dividend. And so listen, banks right now are kind of like in this weird space. We are in a low interest rate environment. Banks tend to make more money when interest rates are higher. Banks tend to make more money when the economy is going. The economy slowed down some because of Rona, because of all those factors. But it's a national bank, and there's not a whole lot of national banks. And for the record, Bank of America's got a whole bunch of shenanigans, especially against the Black community. They've been fined for it. You can look it up. You can research it. So I personally am not a big fan of the overall operation, but I have been a fan of the stock over the years. Right now, I'm kind of melancholy on it right now. This has been trading side to side, and I don't really think any of the banks right now are going to be really, really super stellar. But hey, there's always black banks. There's always black banks. Don't forget about that. So I'm like, it's okay. It all depends on what your overall investment objective is, IL. So let's see, what else do we have here? What's the best broker company to use? E-Trade, Cash App, Robinhood. All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all what I like. I can't really say what's the best, right? Because I don't use them all. I've used a lot. I like Cash App. I like Cash App because you can invest $1, one whole dollar. All right, that's all you need to get going. You only need $1. 100 pennies, 10 dimes, 20 nickels, 4 quarters, $1, or one Susan B. Anthony if you got one, right? That's all you need to get going. Matter of fact, I've talked to y'all about my $1 investment in Apple was now $1.30 or 40 cents. But guess what? I invested another $1 in the Apple. So now I got $2.38 worth of Apple. I'll show that to y'all at some point. Maybe I'll buy another $1 because Apple got crushed after they split, because a lot of people started taking money off the table and they took profits. And folks were kind of disappointed because they expected Apple to continue to run. All right, so I like Cash App. They're cool. E-Trade is okay. Robinhood is all right. I have a Robinhood account as well. They're just okay. All of them, for the most part, though, to me are the same. I use Cash App a lot, and I have TD Ameritrade. And again, like I said, I have Robinhood. Matter of fact, I even have Webull. I've been kind of testing them all out, but they're just okay. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Okay, so I walk, run, and ride my motorcycle in the rain. We weren't scared of water growing up. All right, they're responding to a question I asked in my IG stories. So I don't know how that got pulled over here. Oh, a lot of them came from over there. Okay. All right, so let's see. What else we got? Any other questions over here? Living the Kiss life. How you doing? Welcome. Leo lady, your package is on the way. Let me know when you get it. Do me a favor, take a picture when you get it. Knitter 101, how are you? Welcome. Platinum Princess, how are you? All right, so those are all my questions from IG. What y'all got for me over here on Facebook and YouTube? Let's see. Right, you weren't on that live. Okay, you can now, Jody. I'm out of place right now. I'm not sure what you were responding to. Yeah, doing I talk about who I share. Like I just said, I have trade. I have TD Ameritrade. They've got a pretty decent trading platform. They got pretty decent charts. Uh, Here, I'll show you. I'll put it up on my screen right now. If you want, you can use my affiliate link. Let me see here. But I use a company called TradingView, and I'll just show that to you shortly. It takes a minute to come up. Let's see. Who do I want to look at? Who do I want to look at? So here is SPY. Just some candlesticks there. Nothing fancy. All right. And like I said, the SPY is just tracking the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in America. And then, yeah, I have my, so here's my XLF. It's trading right now at $29.95. Let's see. The dividend yield they're saying is $7.34. Excuse me, 7.34%, not $7. But actually, I think that is off. I think that is off. Give me 1 second, y'all. I think that's off. The other day when I looked at that, it was paying a much, much higher dividend. Much, much higher. So keep y'all questions rolling, folks. Doing mine, like I said, that software is called TradingView. Use it a lot. Right. So hold on. Just want to show you something real quick. Again, these are not recommendations. Just showing y'all what I got. All right. What I'm looking at. So XLE is paying a dividend of 11.25%. Why? It's all energy companies. It's mostly your Chevrons, your Exxons. Let's see, they have a list here. Right. Chevron, Exxon, Kinder Morgan, EOG, Schlumberger, ConocoPhillips, Williams, Phillips 66. Heavily top loaded with Chevron and Exxon coming in with 22 and 23% in holdings value. So they're driving a lot of that performance and a lot of that dividend value there. But listen, oil got mollywopped this year, but they're still generating money, not as much, right? Because a lot of people, economic activity has slowed down, so there's not as many people out and about. There's not as many people on your planes, trains, and automobiles. So it's a little spicy right now. I am seeing more people traveling though. I'm seeing some of my friends go to Jamaica. Another one of my buddies is New Orleans right now. So people are flying, but a lot of people are still scared. And so when we still have those factors, you won't see oil really, really tick up in price too heavy. Because again, nobody's really driving that much. I think I had a tank of gas that lasted almost 3 weeks. That never happens. Usually a tank of gas for me goes in like 3 or 4 days. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining about that at all. All right. So let's see what else we got in here. Could even have a questions about trading options out of an IRA account. The match contribution amount is $6K. If I trade options out of my Roth IRA, am I allowed to contribute more? It depends, not in a year. And I would want to know why you're trading options out of your Roth account, but we're not going to go too deep. And let's see. So I used to keep track of all the contribution limits? I don't anymore. All right, so Roth IRA contribution is 6,000, and it's 7,000 if you are 50 and older. All right. So now you can do 6,000 for the year of 2020, if that's the year you're talking about, and then in 2021 you can deposit another 6,000. Or if you wanted to do 500 a month, which comes to 600, comes to 6,000 throughout the year, that's fine too. So it just really depends on what you're looking to do. Here we go. So it just really depends on what you're looking to do. So Shira Bank says, get with a company that you can call on the telephone. Also, that will teach you how to use the platform and lessons on trading. Yeah, sometimes it will. They'll definitely walk you through it. Miss Mitney, how you doing? Mr. Stotts, I think I said your name right. If I didn't, please correct me. My apologies in advance. All right, so Don Johnson says, I personally don't like the holdings. A dividend ETF without any of the dividend kings in the top 10. Well, I mean, how are you defining dividend king? Exxon is paying a monster dividend, but the street's also worried about if Exxon can keep up this dividend as well, because Exxon has a lot of debt. But Exxon is still one of the largest companies in the world. They may have to cut their debt. They may have to cut their dividend, right? Because remember, dividends are not guaranteed. The board of directors still has to come through and approve the dividend. Now, Kanye's been making some noise, and I asked the question, right? Because he wants to be on the board of Adidas and Gap. So I got to ask y'all, would y'all want Kanye on y'all board? If you were a business owner, would you want Kanye on your board? If so, tell us why. If not, tell us why. Let's see, trying to get here. So now it says, Robinhood has fractional shares now, if you don't know. Yes, now they do have fractional shares, but this is one of the reasons why I'm a little disappointed in Robinhood. They've been saying they've had fractional shares for quite some time. And then when you get on a platform, they're like, oh, you got to join this waiting list. Like, WTF? Like, where they do that? Where they do that at, son? You said you got it. Where's it at? How can I get on it? But, that's all sizzle, no steak. All sizzle, no steak. All right, so what is the attraction to Tesla? I saw one in traffic and it's not that cute to me. I like them. I think Tesla, I think the design is cool. I think what they're doing for the environment is good. Now, see, I can be objective, y'all. I can talk about the benefits of the car, but still talk about how the company is underperforming. But, the problem, though, is they're not able to turn out enough of them to really generate a real profit that you need. So they're still living on borrowed money or OPM or other people's money. They're not really self-sustaining yet. But, I like them. Actually, it's funny, now you bring this up. I have a homegirl of mine who's an attorney, and she only likes luxury things. And I guess I can talk about this because she posted about this on her social media, but she actually called me about it. She said the Tesla has plastic seats, and I think she had a BMW, like an X4, X5, one of those like hatchbacky type BMWs, and she felt it was a downgrade from what she had. She didn't like it, so she didn't get it. Okay. All right, cool, Monica. Feel free to let me know if you have any other questions. Who did I put on Front Street? Can you please give me some advice on structuring one's investment strategy, and why do many experts say to put international stocks or stocks from other companies in a portfolio? I'll take the last question first. They tell you to put international stocks in your portfolio because there's opportunities to be made in the international around the globe. Like many times, us folks who've been born here in the United States are a little arrogant, a little cocky. We think everything is about the United States. We think everything is about America, but China's getting busy. Look at Man, what's look at Alibaba. Alibaba is getting that working. They selling a bunch of stuff. There's a lot to be done over there. There's a lot of people to sell to over there. China's got over like 2 billion people. India's got over 1 billion people. Africa is soon to have over 2 billion people as well. So it's not just all about the United States. You got to go and look for opportunities wherever you can find them. Now, every region is going to be different. The United States has dominated the stock market and everything else for quite some time. But take a look at Nestle. They're doing big things. They are doing big things. Matter of fact, let me pull up a another ETF that I like. All right, and so as I'm pulling it up, I'll go to when you say, "Can you please give advice on structuring one's investment strategy?" So do you want like the super special sauce, super media, social media guru stock market, where they're just saying buy the hottest stock, the hottest IPO, or do you want like the boring, unsexy stuff? Let me know what you want out. So what I would say, first thing you want to do is when building your portfolio is figure out your time horizon. And in order to figure out your time horizon, you need to know why you're investing. There's different reasons for investing. You can be investing for kids' college. You could be investing for your retirement. You could be investing for buying a home. You could be investing for buying a house. I've had clients, right, who've done all of those things. They've used the stock market as a vehicle. And it's not always the best thing for everybody. That's why I always say it's got to be tailor-made for you. But I've seen people use the stock market for all of those things. A buddy of mine years ago bought a bunch of Home Depot stock and bought a house with it. Sold out and bought a house with it. You probably see me talk about this person a lot. Comedic Knowledge on IG. It's a buddy of mine and a client of mine. I don't talk about clients, but they put it out there publicly so I can talk about it. They used some of their earnings from the stock market to start this apparel brand that's geared towards Black women. And they're doing great. They got great quality stuff. So it just depends. So I would say there, right? How long do you think before you need the money? So for example, in retirement, if let's say you're 40 years old and you want to retire at 60. So you got 20 years. Your time horizon is 20 years. So you should be buying investments that you feel can do well over 20 years, not 20 days or 20 minutes, right? So then when you have your investment outlook and where you're trying to go, it'll help frame your investment strategy as well. Because you say, well, listen, I'm not trying to be a day trader. I'm just trying to make more money so I can be secure when it's time for me to retire. So I won't have to go work at Walmart. Shout out to the people that work at Walmart. There's no diss to them. It's one thing to do it as a, if you want to, like it's okay if you want to do that. But I know a lot of people who don't want to do it and have to do it because they didn't plan enough. And some of them didn't have opportunities enough to make more money during their working career. So it just, it really depends. But I would start with those two. And then you can figure out what you like. This kind of goes back to Monica's question, right? Is it growth or is it value? So if you're 20 years out, you can look at growth. Growth stocks are going to tend to have more volatility, meaning they're going to yo-yo and go up and down a little bit more than your value stocks. Value stocks are going to tend to be, right? Because there's an exception for every rule. Value stocks are going to tend to be kind of smooth and steady. They're not going to bounce around as much, usually. All right. So think about those things. Now, as going back to your question about international, let's see here. International. So I'm going to pull up BT. I talked about this a few weeks ago too. So this is the Vanguard Total World Index Fund. Again, this is not an investment recommendation, just for entertainment, educational purposes only. So everybody knows Vanguard, multi-trillion-dollar company managing big funds. Now, when we look at some of their biggest holdings, who are they with? Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. By the way, all of these companies do business internationally too. They're getting the bag all across the globe. Alibaba, right? Here's Alibaba, the Chinese company. All right. Here's Tencent. Tencent is the company that owns TikTok. Here's Nestle, another one, right? So 3 out of the 7 biggest holdings in this fund are from out of the United States, and they're doing pretty well, relatively speaking. So when you think about investing, think about not just the United States, but think about abroad as well. Think about global as well. Okay, so now it says I just brought some because I bank with them. All right. Michael Dennis, how are you, sir? Welcome. Another weekly recurring viewer. Michael, thanks for coming here. Totally honored that you're here this week. Yep. Trust that. Oh, you like that question, don't I? Okay, Melody Allen use Webull. Yeah, I use Webull as well. Okay, so Doing Ma says, if you sell some shares, how do you get the money from your account in your hands? So usually what you do is you just transfer it over from your account to your bank account. So from your brokerage account to your bank account, you transfer it over. It's usually like hitting a button. It's usually how you fund your account in the beginning. However, there are some times where you can actually order paper checks. And there are some times where you can actually use your brokerage account as a checking account or like a bank account. You can write checks out of them. All right. Jay Cherie, how are you, lady? Love that video you did. That was awesome. Everybody on my IG page, it's like the last video I put up, Jay Cherie is on there talking about mindset. And she did an awesome job. Sammy, how are you? Welcome. To Sean, how are you? Welcome. Mohit 76, welcome. All right, it's 9:16, folks. I'm gonna get ready to cut out in a minute. I need some vittles. But you plan to check out. All right, so Alton, why are you going to switch? Why are you going to go from Webull to Stockpile? Don Johnson says my M1 finance is where my dividend portfolio is, but all my index portfolios with Vanguard. That makes sense. Vanguard really has the index game on lock. They don't really, well, they're starting to get a little bit more flashy, right? But there's some other indexes from other folks like VanEck, like they have gold miners. I talk about gold miners sometimes because I like gold miner stock better than gold as an alternative to gold, because I know a lot of people still excited about gold and seeing gold run up. No, I don't remember. So Jody asked, did you mention Citibank for beginners at one point to me? No, I don't think so. Yes, doing my trading view. Absolutely. These, I don't understand this comment sometimes. They just jump on me. Leo lady. No problem, RDD. So RDD says, I've read that the use of a fiduciary and associated expenses can be tax deductible in certain circumstances. What are those circumstances? Well, they've taken a lot of that away in the last job cut, tax. You know what, I'm messing up. In the last tax cut, y'all know what I'm talking about. They've taken a lot of that away. So it's not the same anymore. 25 years of consecutive dividends. Who are we talking about, Don? Okay, so Don asked my question, right? Would you want Kanye on your board? And Don says, hell no, he's not mentally stable. Anybody would? Jody says, no, I feel he's unpredictable. Right. So I recognize that a lot of people think that when companies are being run, they're being run by the CEO. Actually, that's not true. Companies are technically run, especially publicly traded companies, are run by the board of directors. And so they are the stewards of the company. They are the ones who craft the vision. And now, don't get me wrong, the executives and management definitely come up with ideas and doing things, but the board of directors kind of gives the CEO and top management their their marching orders. And it's their job to kind of fulfill that. Okay. So now it says he knows people. I would love to get a hold of his network. Okay, cool. But now let's say you and him have a disagreement, right? Because you're the bookkeeping queen. You over there running things at Intuit on Intuit commercials, y'all. What would you say when he says, I want you to leave Intuit and I want you to go and start specializing in ERP with Oracle? And like, he's irrational and he's screaming. And he's saying, now you ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. So how would you feel about that? Knowing you, he might get shot. But I don't know. All right, so Mr. Darren Miles Weekly. What's up, brother? We got to connect, man. We supposed to get out golfing for the summer. I'm blaming you. Their dividend is monster relative to the price. Some dividends seem monster with that price dropping. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, remember, folks, throw your questions in the chat. Probably be on for about another 10 minutes, right? It's 9:20 now. So I will rock to 9:30. Yeah, I think he needs to get help, but I do think, I will say this, right? I think he conveniently has mental health issues. And I think that's a shame. So Mr. Miles owns shares of XOM. For anybody that knows XOM, that's a ticker symbol for Exxon. Then I'm actually looking at Exxon myself to maybe go a little bit more pointed. Again, this is not an investment recommendation. But Exxon's dividend is major right now. So if I know it ain't going to stay there forever, but if I can get it on the cheap, I'll be satisfied. So yeah, their dividend is 10%, 10.15%. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. So y'all see that Exxon Mobil, $34.33. Over here, it says forward dividend. So it says $3.48. So Exxon pays $3.48 to every shareholder that has one full share, right? If you have fractional shares, it'll break down to the pro rata share or whatever percentage you may own. But that's 10%. You're not going to get 10% in the bank. And Exxon right now is at a pretty deep low. So I don't know if it's going to go too much lower. So again, I'm looking at Exxon. I'm not recommending it. I'm not telling y'all to spend y'all money on it. I'll leave it all to the gurus to tell y'all what to do. Because those are the people be complaining about. Those are the people that wind up losing their money. And then the gurus be absconding and showing up with $2,000 Italian-made suits or European-made suits and $5,000 shoes and vehicles that they use with your money that they didn't care. So Melody Allen says, wouldn't want Kanye in the company. Stardom has taken over him and he seems to have some mental issues. Yeah, I would agree. So yeah, but just think about when you have a board of directors, you want to be able to work with those people. Think about it. The people you typically work with best, there's some kind of chemistry, camaraderie. There's something there that, helps y'all to gel. And it's usually not somebody just going manic and just raving about what they want or because they can't get what they want. And by the way, I still believe Kanye is a musical genius. He's just not a political genius. Yeah, so Alibaba is definitely like the version of Amazon. I hope I'm going to say your name right. K1 Shy, or is it Keisha126? Tell me how to say your name. Teach me. So no to Kanye, he's way too unstable at this time. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, some decent opportunities abroad from Nestle to Diageo. Now, I mentioned Nestle, and thank you for that, Mr. Miles. He mentioned Diageo. So listen, if you're out there buying Ciroc, Puffy don't own Ciroc, y'all, and that's no diss to Puff. I'm a Puff fan. But Diageo owns Ciroc. So if you like Ciroc, you might want to look at Diageo. Diageo makes a lot of money. They got deep pockets. Deep pockets. Let me see. Can't think of the Diageo's ticker symbol off the top of my head. See. I always spell it wrong too. Diageo's acquiring aviation. That's interesting. Oh, hello, son. You headed to the trash again? You want to say hello to the peoples again? No, you don't want to do it today? No, goodbye. Can you close the door back, please, sir? Leave things how you found them. Leave them better than how you found them. Thank you, sir. So that was just a quick announcement or walkthrough. I always like to put my son on the spot. All right, so Diageo, $137. So let me share this with y'all real quick. Because y'all should be conscious consumers, right? So you should know who you're buying, who you're giving their profits to, right? Who you're helping to be profitable. Ciroc stays sold out often at the liquor store. I remember when it first came out, they sold out the warehouse. All right, so $137.66. All right. Dividend is $4.42. So for every $137 you spend, you get back income in the form of a dividend at $4.42. So the dividend rate or yield is $3.24. Last dividend was in August. Now, how much money do they make? You always know I want to see what the cash look like. So in the year of 2020, June 30th, 2020, they reported $11 billion in sales. They're making a lot of money. They're selling a lot of liquor, a whole lot of liquor. Now, it went down from the previous year. The previous year, they sold 12.8 billion, almost 13 billion in liquor, but still doing good. Still doing good. And let's see how much cash they have. So they got about 3.3 billion cash on the books. So they got decent cash. So good call, sir. Good call, Mr. Darren. Good call. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? And somebody said, "Yep, all the sauce for whatever it takes for maximum performance." Absolutely. Thank you for the breakdown, my brother. My pleasure. Thank you for being here. I'm going kind of fast, so doing mine. What did I say? You didn't know you could do what? Can you explain what a mode is? Because I haven't been able to find a decent breakdown. I've talked about modes before. I've given you decent breakdowns. So think about it. In the days of what's his name, Merlin and Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, they would have these big castles, right? And then they would have these drawbridges in the castle to keep the enemies out, and also to keep the peasants away, which were the actual citizens, which is very similar to what we got going on. But once you brought the drawbridge up, right, they didn't want to make it easy for the people to bring the ladders, and people kind of climb the ladders. If you've ever watched like Braveheart or any of those old school movies when people are going to war, any Game of Thrones fans in here? You saw a lot of that in there, but they would take a ladder and they would climb up. Well, if you have a moat around there with like lions, tigers, and bears, and alligators, and lizards, and snakes, and all kinds of stuff, people aren't going to be as apt to cross over the moat, right, and get into the water because there's danger in the water. And so that helps to protect the castle, right? Now, the castle is just an analogy for a company, right? Remember, we're buying companies. Forget the stock, we're buying companies. Warren Buffett says it all the time. We're buying companies. We're buying a piece of a company. So if you're buying a piece of a company, you want a company that's well-defined or defended. You want a company that can sustain itself and defend itself, right? Because once you come up with something new, i.e., let's look at with Apple with the iPhone, you're going to have competitors. Samsung. So iPhone came out, or iPod, whatever one came first. Then iPod came out first, then iPhone. But then look who's coming, Samsung. That's why Samsung and Apple are always in court, because there's always some kind of copyright infringement. But Apple is so protected because they have their moat around them to protect them, right? Which is their IP, and IP stands for intellectual property, which, their patents and everything else. They have trademarks and things like that. People can't just take their stuff. It's protected, meaning they can't take their business, meaning they can't take their profits. So their profits are protected to a certain degree until somebody else better comes along and outdoes them. That's just kind of the cycle of life. But again, that's kind of a moat. And another term, it's also called an economic moat, financial moat. I think it's good to just understand that concept, because I tell people all the time, if you want to become a better business person, study the stock market. Study the stock market, because you can look and see what people are doing and how they maneuver. So I'm going to put this up. Another great resource is a company or a website called Investopedia. Right? So Investopedia talks about this kind of stuff all the time. They got all kinds of stuff in there, right? So what is an economic moat? Conceptualized and named by Warren Buffett. I actually don't think Warren Buffett did it, but he's the one who made it popular. So whatever. An economic moat is a distinct advantage a company has over its competitors, which allows it to protect its market share and profitably protect its market share and profitability. It is often an advantage that is difficult to mimic or duplicate. Brand identity, patents, look, I just told y'all, right? And thus creates an effective barrier against competition in other firms. Understanding an economic moat. Every successful company understands that the main threat to their continued success will be from competitors. All right. And keeping them at bay is crucial to sustaining their dominance, right? Sustaining their dominance with the passage of time. They are likely to see an erosion to their bottom line. Bottom line is profits, right? You have top line and you have bottom line. Top line is sales and revenue. Sometimes they're interchangeable. They're actually different. Bottom line, when people are talking about bottom line, is profits. All right. So with the passage of time, they are likely to see an erosion of their bottom line as competitors eat away at their market share, which is why a business that intends to remain dominant has to establish an economic moat. Economic moat describes a company's competitive advantage derived as a result of various business tactics and strategy. And strategy and tactics are different. All right. So business tactics that allow it to earn above average profits for a sustainable time period. So think about that. Think about what was just read. Sustainable time period, advantage. All of those things could go into you being a better business owner if you can see and visualize those things as an investor. So like I said, if you want to be a good business owner, study the stock market. Love Shy, how you doing? Welcome. Shelvia Williams, how are you doing? Welcome, and thank you for joining us this evening. Happy Wednesday. All right, so they said you did. I did. I'll trust you. I'm going to catch up with these. I said 9:30 to end. This is 9:32. I don't plan to switch. I just want to see what it's all about. Okay. The idea of gifting shares or sending gift certificates on stockpiles is pretty dope. Oh, saw that video. That was funny. You didn't know all the answers. No, I don't know all the answers. You got jokes. Of course I got jokes. You ain't just now meeting me. You ain't new to this. You know I'm true to this. I know how to talk to mentally unstable people. Yeah, Kanye is a whole different kind of unstable. Listen, when you talk crazy about Jay-Z on stage, you're a different kind of unstable. I'm just saying. Dividend kings are S&P 500 companies who have increased their dividend for 50 plus. Yes. They're also called the dividend aristocrats as well. Two got kicks. What's up, man? How you doing? You saw any kicks lately? Y'all are only focusing on his negative headlines. The guy is smart. Yeah, I just said Kanye was a musical genius. There's no denying that at all. I said he's not a political genius, though. He's like a political imp, but that's a different conversation. And yes, he knows how to go against the grain. But I wouldn't want the Kanye on my board, especially an established board. I would love to have Kanye as a consultant. I would love to have Kanye as a joint venture partner, but not on my board. That's a whole other level of craziness that you got to deal with. You need your board to be stable. You need your board to have a unified vision. I love I can't think of the movie right now. Drumline, one band, one sound. Dr. Lee, one band, one sound. So the board is like the heartbeat of a company. If your board is bad, things are going to get bad real quick. And Kanye's level of crazy disrupts things real quick. Anytime you put the man that basically made your career, and I tremble saying that because I do believe Kanye made himself. But anytime you put Jay-Z and say all those crazy things about Jay-Z, nobody's safe. Okay, so yes, it's Keisha126. All right. Yes, GOT, yeah. Example of moats in the beverage world is Pepsi and Coke have moats. They have the game on lock. Yeah, they do. Thank you, Mom. I try my best. Yes, he's innovative and will shake stuff out. Yes, but you got to position people where they can be most beneficial for you and your company. I don't think Kanye is most beneficial on anybody's board, except for his own. I'm just saying. All right, folks. Lovely Juan, how are you? Welcome. All right, so listen, folks. I am wrapping up right now. It's 9:36. I went 6 minutes over. Y'all know we do this every week, every Wednesday at 8. And I think I just had some more questions come in, as always. All right. Last question. Last call, but ain't no alcohol. All right. Why do elections affect the market? Great question. Because politics affects the economy, right? I know a lot of us always say, and I'm talking to Black folks because that's the majority of my community. A lot of folks say that politics don't matter. Elected officials don't matter. Just get your money. But what people don't realize is that a pen stroke can take away all your money. A change of law and legislation can take away all your money. A change of or a lack of representation can make it very difficult for you to make money, right? And so I hear all these Black wealth, quote unquote, new age aficionados say, just get your money. But then at the same vein, we talk about Tulsa and Black Wall Street. And we can never juxtapose the two, right? Or contrast the two. We didn't have Black folks. We didn't have a lot of political power at the time. Had we had more political power at the time, Tulsa would have been less likely to happen. And when I say Tulsa would have been less likely to happen, I am talking about the bombings, right? We would have been able to protect Tulsa in a different way. And anytime we don't have representation, when Black folks don't have representation, things get really weird, right? So politics drives the market. That's why everything happens. I mean, if you look at it, if anybody remembers Kodak just a couple of weeks ago, where Trump supposedly gave them this loan, this mysterious loan, what happened to their stock? It shot up. And then when the people found out that, the loan wasn't real, it fell. There's a lot of contracts. There's a lot of money being made off of government contracts. When you look at Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and some of the other highly people or visible people that do government contract work, they're making billions and billions of dollars. I mean, the government, I don't know if anybody saw the interview I did with Serena Moore. So Serena Moore is a good friend of mine, been a friend of mine over a decade. But she teaches a class on how to get micro federal government contracts. And she has sourced millions and millions of dollars of those. That interview is on my YouTube channel. I would suggest you all watch it because she opens those up pretty often. But she talks about how there are opportunities from dog food to yoga pants and government contracts, right? Who affects government contracts? Legislation, politics, government. Money and politics go hand in hand. When you look at it, a buddy of mine, Greg Davis here in Philly, is another financial advisor. Greg Davis, I probably said it the best. Politics is basically the allocation of wealth. Some of the biggest black millionaires were made from government contracts. How did they get them? They figured out a way to maneuver the governmental system. So the market will always affect it. Tax, everybody's worrying about tax. So if we get a new president, we may get some new tax changes. Maybe, because it depends on if we can get a switch on the Senate. And I don't think that is likely to happen. But yeah, it's always going to affect it because the government and politics are squarely rooted in the economy. And the economy is where the money is made and circulated. So Katisha, thank you for being here. She says, thank you for all the insights. Very informative. Much appreciated. Thank you. All right. Why aren't you supposed to be going about 10 minutes? Listen, I'm here for the people. I got you for your $100 a day, so you can't talk crack to me. Not today. You got to wait another day, Niall. I beat you today. But I told you, you walked into my lair. Don says, I think that's because a lot of people that push the politics things, I guess one side of the house only push that side. No, you need both. I push both, right? I tell folks, like, listen, it's more to this than just voting. You got to vote. We got to finance our politicians. I asked the question. I'm going to ask y'all this question. I want to close on this question. All right. Some of our poorest communities, what will happen to some of our poorest communities if we had 100% voter participation? What do you think would happen? Leave that comment in the chat for me. Again, the question is, what do you think would happen if some of our poorest communities came out and voted 100%, had 100% voter turnout in every election? What do you think would happen? Some people feel nothing. Some people feel a whole lot would change. Y'all tell me what y'all think would happen. All right. Listen, I'm Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. Thank you for attending, watching, and hanging out with me during this Wealthy Wednesday. We'll be back next Wednesday, and I'll be here on Saturday at 11:30. I've been running late a little bit because my Saturday's been a little crazy. Like I told you, I was working on my top secret project, but now I'm done with that. I took all my tests. I passed all my tests, and I took Niall's money, and she's saying it's charity, right? But I told y'all she's like the queen of QuickBooks, so I'm fine with taking her money. I'm going to figure out a way to get more of her money. My camera is shaking because I hit my table. I get passionate. Excuse me. All right, folks. Listen, I'll be back next Saturday. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next time. Have a great week. So long. Shira, the name.